Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm meadsy69. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to have a look at the T-54. And those of you that are on my Instagram, I put a post a few days ago, pretty much a giveaway post. If you could guess what the name of the tank was that I titled this video to, Old But Gold. Those of you that have guessed it, I put everyone's name, all the winners, into a random generator, and the winner will already have been announced on Instagram, but I'll also put the winner in the description below. Of course, Old But Gold is the T-54. The T-54 is an absolute beast. It's always been a beast. It's not quite as much of a beast nowadays than it was back in the day, and there was one reason it was an absolute beast back in the day, and that was because of, well, it was called Heat 54. You didn't care about firing normal rounds. You would always fire Pramo, because the Pramo on it is 270mm, which is pretty good. However, the AP pen on this tank is poor. It really is poor. 201mm, and if you look at all the other, again, sorry for the fuzziness. If you look at all the other tier 9 medium tanks, it is by far the worst penetrating on the AP, on the standard round. So people used to just load up heat. They used to load up heat, and they don't care about losing credits. It has a nice turret. It does have very troll armor as well. And it's still a good tank now, even though the pen, I would definitely run it with calibrated shells. 211, I mean, it's still the worst. I mean, even with calibrated shells, it's still the worst. But that does push up your heat, because it is heat. It does push it up to 297, which is pretty goddamn good. So that is now more than the E50 with calibrated shells on the Pramo. So the Pramo's always been good, but just be aware that you are going to have to fire a lot of it. Now, the DPM is slightly below most of the other tanks as well. We're going to get into some battles just to show how good this tank can still be in this day and age in Blitz. So the first battle here is me on Himmelsdorf, and again, it's nothing special at all. Now, this tank, when you come up against tier 8s, this is when it becomes so good. But that doesn't mean it's not good against tier 10. It is good against tier 10. It can hold its own. A lot of tier 9s, to be honest, do come up against tier 10, and that are still good tanks. A lot of them are. You have tanks, obviously, like the M46 pattern, which isn't so good because of the armor wise, but the gun's good. But you have this that can still bounce shots, that can still do damage, that can get around and be a nuisance pretty much. The only problem I have with the T-54, and I don't know if it's just me or if it's actually most tier 9s, is you hardly ever see tier 8. I mean, I'm in a tier 8 game here now, but I hardly ever see tier 8. I can have like 10 back-to-back battles in tier 10, and then one in tier 8, and then back in tier 10 for a few games. I don't know if that's the same with most tier 9s, but I mean, I've played a few tier 9s like this waffle, and I do come up against tier 8 quite often. But for some reason, the T-54, it's like it's got its own freaking matchmaking that just puts you in tier 10 most of the games, like 90% of the games. So that is quite annoying, because even though it can hold its own in tier 10, but so, you know, sometimes you want it a little bit easy. You do want it to come up against tier 8s every now and again, so you just don't have to use that Pramo, that's all. You can pump out that DPM. Of course, when you're using Pramo nowadays, you do less DPM. And that's the only change of this tank for all those years. Obviously, the heat pen got nerfed quite a few years ago now, and the damage on the heat got nerfed as well. So can just imagine back in the day with the heat doing the same damage as your normal round, but actually it had a lot more penetration back then, and that is why people just spammed these. They spammed the Object 140 because no one cared. No one cared about losing credits. I mean, credits is not a thing. I have, what, nearly 200 million credits. Do you think I care about losing 50, 60,000 credits playing a game in one tank, having fun, doing damage? No, I really don't. But nowadays, I mean, I don't play the T-54 as much. I don't play the T-54 as much now. It's not my it's not my go-to medium tank no more. I mean, for me, I love the standard B because it's different, it's really good, and I love the AMX Proto. I love that tank. It has the gun depression, it has the turret. The T-54 doesn't really have the gun depression. It does have that turret. It does have weak points on the turret though, but it has that hull armor that can be very troll. You come up against another T-54, you're going to struggle to pen the front of it. You are going to struggle to pen the front of it, and unless you switch to Pramo or unless you get the right angle, you do struggle. And that's why the T-54 has always been the tank to go to in tier 9. It always was. Not sure if it always will, as I've said, there are better tanks that are being added into the game. But for me, it's still going to be the old but gold. It's still gold. It's still an amazing tank, and I don't think that's ever going to change with the T-54. We're just going to get into one more game now from Unique, and we're going to show you just how good this tank can be. And of course, again, it's in tier 8, and I'm just going to show you just how lethal this tank can be when you are top tier. And I've seen T-54s carry in tier 10 as well. Like I've said, it's not just against tier 8s, and there's a lot of tanks like that now in tier 9, that even some of the heavies, the E75, can really definitely hold its own against tier 10, and that's what I like. That's why I like tier 9. I do like tier 9. It is becoming one of my favorite tiers. It used to be my worst tier back in the day, but nowadays it's one of my favorite tiers. You have some tier 8s that struggle. Most tier 8s, or a lot of tier 8s should I say, struggle against tier 9s, but most tier 9s, they don't struggle against tier 10s. So that's pretty much why tier 9 is my favourite tank, and there's quite a few tanks to choose from. I think that you've got the Waffle, the Yag Tiger, you've T-54, as I've said, the standard B. So there's a lot of tanks, and you can see here now he's just bounced 700 damage off the bat, just right there, 700 damage, and that's going to become crucial towards the end of the game. So he's pumped up only 1300 damage so far. He's waiting for the Foch to turn. He does get that shot, leaves him on 1 HP. Unfortunately, he is going to switch to the HE. No, he's going to go back. Is he going to go? He's using heat against he can't go through the little crate things there on the side, and eventually he's going to bounce. I mean, Foches, I hate Foches. They are so troll. They really are troll with that cupola. But I think the Foch is run his course, and he is going to die. And that's 2 kills now for Unique. It's a 5-on-4, so we're still winning. There's a lot of heavies. There's 4 heavies, and of course with the heavy hit point buff, which means there's a lot of hit points still to get through. I mean, 3 of them are full hit points. The T-34 is pretty much now a one-shot. He's going to leave his team to deal with them. There's a Motion up there as well, which he's going to leave, which is a good choice. There's better tanks than the Motion up here. He is going to take out, I don't even know how he managed to get that kill with them 2 guys not able to kill that T-34. So I like what he's doing here. He's ignoring the 2 tier 9 tanks to go for the KV5, who is on his own to help his T-34. So there's 2 tanks on 1, whilst the other 2 tanks are dealing with that Emil, who is now dead. So hopefully him and this T-34 can deal with the KV5 quickly before the 2 tier 9 tanks come. And is he able to not quite get that shot off? I love the fact that he's hiding behind the building, but they really do need to take that KV5 out very, very quickly. The T-34 is not able to deal with him. He's losing all of his hit points, but eventually does manage to take him out. But he's now a one-shot. So he's still on, Unique's still on 800 hit points. He can basically take a shot from each tank. If he he can take 1 shot definitely, and if it's a high roll, he will be a 1-shot. So he needs to deal with this M103. Great tank. It's an amazing tank. Oh my god, what a miss there. Lovely track shot, and he does manage to get that time. The track shot was crucial because he gets the time to get around the building. He gets another track shot in there, and he's just going to wait. Is he going to take a shot? I love the angles there, and they're the kind of angles you want to do, because they're the kind of angles that you will get bounces from if they shoot your front plate. Pretty much an auto bounce. And he's now just going to face side hug. He does take a little bit of damage, not too much though. So he's taken out a really, really good tier 9 tank, and he can still now take a shot from the Motion. You can see he's trying to bait a shot at that angle, so he can see he's only can see his hull, and that is what he's trying to do. He's trying to get that bait shot, and hopefully he does, and he does get it. He gets the bounce. Now he's a 2-shot against a 2,400 hit point motion. That's a lot of hit points to get through when you can only take 1 shot before you turn it into a 1-shot. But of course, with the mobility of this thing, you are able to circle these guys. And when you have a player like the Motion, who isn't the best of players, he doesn't really know what he's doing. At least he backed up to the red line so that the T-54 can no longer circle him, but he's playing it right. The T-54 is low to the ground tank. It really is a low to the ground tank, so he can just annoy him. And I can smell the frustration in this Motion, because he's only going to see red, because the turret is really good. So if he turns his gun, he can really only see the red turret. So he's playing it really well here. Unique's playing it really well, and he's bringing him now down to 755 hit points. He's trying to bait a shot. He's trying to get that shot from the Motion. Another shot there, 504. He is having to use the heat to go through. He is bouncing a few though. I bet he's panicking at this time. 6,686 damage, and he does get another bounce. He's up to 2,000 block damage now. He needs to just calm down a bit, aim, and take the shots. He's now bringing him down to a 1-shot unless he really low rolls with the heat. He's only got 1 heat left, so he has to be careful. He is going to switch to the AP. He bounces again, and at this point, I mean, he's not risking anything. And again, the Motion misses, and he should easily be able to take him out. He's going to reload his gun, and there he is. Very, very well played. 2,000 block damage and 7,100. And fair play to his team and the enemy team. They all praised him for his good work. So that is the T-54, an old but gold tank, and definitely still worth the grind. Hope you enjoyed it, guys. I'm meadsy69. Congratulations to the winner of the tier 8 premium tank of your choice. I hope to see you all soon. Please subscribe. Get me to that 50,000 subs. See you guys.
With